The storm breaks over the battlefield. The rain is torrential as it beats down on armour and stone, hissing and cracking as it meets the fires of the Scions of the Flame. Across from them, like statues in the darkness, the Shadowstalkers, the Shroud Queen herself making an appearance. They've been tracking the Scions for days. Moving ahead of them, they've set their ambush. And then, the rain started. Lying in wait, the Shadowstalkers, gripping their weapons tight, warily stole forward, the rain making it all but impossible to see, until a flash of fire right ahead. The Scions are here. Hi guys, welcome to GFN Gaming. I'm Russ, and today we're going to be playing some Warhammer Age of Sigmar Warcry. Fighting off for the favour of the Chaos Gods will be the Scions of the Flame and the Khainite Shadowstalkers. Make sure you like if you like these kind of videos and hit that subscribe button. The cards have been drawn, and for our deployment we have Strike from the Shadows. The mission will be Blood Marked. At the start of the combat phase of the first battle round, starting with the player who has the initiative, each player picks a fighter in their warband to be Blood Marked. The fighter must be on the battlefield. A player wins the battle as soon as their opponent's Blood Marked fighter is taken down. At the end of the fourth battle round, and each subsequent battle round, any Blood Marked fighters within 4 inches of the battlefield edge immediately count as being taken down. The twist will be Deluge. No ability or attack action can be used to target an enemy fighter more than 6 inches away during this battle, and in addition, when a fighter climbs, count each 1 inch of vertical movement as 2 inches instead. This is my first ever game of Warcry, so thank you very much for joining me, and we'll get right into the teams. We'll be starting first with the Scions of the Flame. Leading the warband and sounding like an extra from a Cheech and Chong film, we have the Blazing Lord. He's got a decent amount of wounds, strength 5, toughness 4, and some real good damage output. Next up we have the Brazen Champion. Again, looking at his stats, he seems like he's going to be a damage output kind of character. Next up, and probably the best looking model in my opinion, you have the Immolator. Again, he seems like a damage dealing kind of character. Making up the only non-ability range attack in the team is the Inferno Priest. She also gets access to Engulf in Flames, which is an insane amount of potential damage output. Next up is my first Fireborn. This one has a Sunblade and a Brazier Axe. And my second Fireborn. This one has the ability to throw firebombs, but it's 5 points more expensive. I guess we'll find out if that makes a difference. Moving on to the chaff, I have an Initiate with Brazier Weapon and Flame Burst Pot for 65 points. Last model in their warband is the Initiate with Hooked Axe. And they'll be arranged into my dagger, my shield, and my hammer. Now moving on to the Khainite Shadowstalkers. Leading the Khainite Shadowstalkers will be the Shroud Queen. Very maneuverable at 6 inch movement. Looking forward to seeing how she does. Next up is the Slaughter Blade, and she's got the Shadow Whip, giving her a bit of range. For my more effective ranged units, I have 2 Dark Flame Warlocks with repeater crossbows. These guys are probably going to be suffering more than most due to the twist Deluge, reducing range. The first of my Shroud Blades will be these 2, and they will both be armed with Umbral Spears. Which means finishing off the list are 3 further Shroud Blades, all with cursed swords. And that's it, that's the Khainite Shadowstalkers team. They will be broken up into dagger, shield, and hammer. Starting with the game now, and it's turn 1, and we'll move on to the priority roll. Scions get a 6, and the Khainite Shadowstalkers get an 8, so they have priority. In Strike from the Shadows, only the shield is present in Battle Round 1, and as the Khainite Shadowstalkers have priority, they deploy first. As per the mission, the Shroud Queen and the Blazing Lord will be the blood marked. Each side will now roll their initiative dice, starting with the Scions. They get a double 5, a double 2, and 2 singles. Shadowstalkers get a double 5 and 4 singles, giving them the initiative. Both sides will choose to save their wild dice for the next turn. Due to only having the shield deployed to this battle round, coupled with the deluge rule which reduces range and being deployed quite far from each other, there's actually not a lot that happens in turn 1, so this is pretty much it. So this is my first Warcry game, so I'm not too sure if the first battle rounds are often this short, but this is it. This is what's happened in the first round. A little bit of movement, a bit tentative at the moment and not a lot of range, but we'll move straight on to turn 2. Start of a new turn, so any initiative dice that are left over are thrown away and we roll again, starting with the Shadowstalkers. They get a triple 6 and 3 singles, and now the Scions, and they get a double 6, a double 2 and a double 1. Shadowstalkers use both their wild dice to make it a quad 6 and a double 5, and the Scions save 1 wild dice and make 1 a triple 6. Round 2 in Strike from the Shadows, and this means that the daggers are coming on, starting with the Khainite Stalkers who have initiative still. Having to get a little closer than they want to because of the twist, this Shroud Blade is going to move forward and then use an ability, Cursed Darts. I'm going to use my double 5, and that means I get to throw 2 dice at him. On any 4 up, I get to allocate 2 damage, and if I get a 6, I half his movement. And on the roll of 2 5s, that is 4 damage going through to the Blazing Lord. The Blazing Lord is then going to move forward to a nice central location and use an ability, Ignited Fervor. This is an aura ability, and I'm going to use my triple 6, and this means any friendly model within 6 inches gets +1 attacks. I debated going all in with the quad 6 with my Shroud Queen, but that would leave her super exposed, so instead I'm going to move this Shroud Blade forward and use Cursed Darts again. So I do have to blow my quad 6 for this, which feels like sacrilege, but if I don't spend them I lose them at the end of the turn anyway. Targeting the Blazing Lord and looking for 4 ups. And I get 1, so that's an extra 2 damage taken off the Blazing Lord. This Fireborn here is going to move to get into the heart of the combat. This Dark Flame Warlock is going to move to get the Fireborn in range of his crossbows. 4 attacks, Strength 3, Toughness 4, so going to need 5s and 6s will be crits. No wounds but 1 crit, so that is 3 damage. First bit of melee combat now, and the Fireborn is going to move into the Shroud Blade. Looking to ensure the kill now, they have already got the aura from the Blazing Lord, but we're going to use the double 2 to get Onslaught to add another attack. That means we have 4 attacks base, and we add 1 for the aura and 1 for Onslaught, making a grand total of 6 attacks at Strength 4, Toughness 3, so we're looking at 3s, 4s, 5s, and 6s doing 4 damage on a critical. At damage 2 for the normals and a damage 4 for the critical, that's 10 damage going through. And with 8 wounds only, that Shroud Blade is taken out of action straight away. Cold and unfeeling, the Shadowstalkers are not perturbed by the loss of their sister, and they focus on their target, the Blazing Lord. The Dark Flame Warlock is going to ready his crossbows and fire them at the Blazing Lord. Strength 3, Toughness 4, so it's going to be 5s and 6s. Crossbow bolts slam into hardened leather shoulder pads as the Blazing Lord stares at the Shroud Queen. Captain Dumpster Fire is going to move, and this Shroud Blade is going to move into base contact with the Fireball. The Inferno Priest is also going to move just to get closer to the action. The Shroud Queen is going to move to attack the Fireborn.
I am your death, little man.
Using the sword, and it'll be 4 attacks at Strength 4, Toughness 4, so I'll need 4s, 5s, and 6s will be crits. That's a wound and a crit, so that's going to be 7 damage. You'd already taken 3 from the crossbow, so you only had 7 left, so that Fireborn is going to be taken out of action. And with that kill, we end Battle Round 2, moving on to Battle Round 3. Onto the initiative rolls now, starting with the Scions. They get a double 2 and 4 singles, and the Shadowstalkers get a double 3 and also 4 singles. This means there's a roll off to decide who has initiative. And the Shadowstalkers get it so they can use their wild dice first. So they turn their 5 into a double 5. The Scions have 2 left over, so they use 1 to turn their 5 into a double 5, and they use 1 as a single so that they can seize the initiative. As per the deployment card, it is now round 3, so the hammers will be coming on from their designated board edge. The Inferno Priest is going to move forward and then attack at range at the Shroud Blade. I'm going to use my double 2 here for the Onslaught ability, giving me 1 extra attack, so now it'll be 3 attacks. Strength 3, Toughness 3, so we're going to need 4s, 5s, and 6s of course will be criticals. With 2 crits and a single wound, that's going to be 10 damage. The Shroud Blade only has 8 wounds, so he's taken out of action. Shroud Queen is going to move to get out of the danger zone. Brazen Champ's just going to move. With only a base move of 4, he's not moving anywhere quickly, but he's going to try and get towards the main battle. So I make a mistake here, the Dark Flame Warlock can't actually use this ability. That being said, he's using the double 3 for Cursed Darts. Again, looking for 4+ to do 2 damage. And this is targeting the Blazing Lord, and on a 5 and a 1, that is 2 damage. He's then going to fire his crossbow in him. This is Strength 3, Toughness 4, so wounding on 5s and 6s. 4 damage so far, and then we attack again. And it's another 2, so 6 damage in total. With just 6 wounds left out of his 20, it's seeming like it was a bit of a bad move to put this guy so far forward. It might be time to move him back. Brave Sir Robin is bravely going to run away. He's going to move and then climb down this wall and then hide behind a pillar. This Shroud Blade's just going to move and then wait. The Fireborn is going to move and lock the Dark Flame Warlock in base-to-base contact. This other Shroud Blade is going to move and follow her Shroud Queen down this flank. The Initiate here is just going to move. This Shroud Blade's going to move, and so is the second Scion's Initiate. Final Shroud Blade's going to move next to his friend, and the Immolate is going to move into base contact with the Shroud Queen. Final bit of movement now, and the Slaughter Blade is going to move towards the center of the board. The end of turn 3 now, we've got the Blazing Lord far on the right flank getting away from combat, and we have the Shroud Queen in combat with the Immolator. Can she survive? It's going to depend on who goes first. That's the end of the turn 3 combat phase, and we'll move on to turn 4. Turn 4 initiative rolls, starting with the Scions, and they get a treble 6, a double 3, and a single 5. Shadowstalkers get a triple 4, a double 1, and a single 3. It's going to be a roll-off to decide who has the initiative at this stage. Shadowstalkers win the roll-off and use their wild die to turn their treble 4 into a quad 4. And the Scions will use theirs to make a quad 6. This means the Shadowstalkers are going first, which is probably key for keeping the Shroud Queen alive. Might be a little bit overkill, but the Shroud Queen is going to use the double 4 for Rampage. This means they get to make a bonus move action, and then a bonus attack action. I can't use the move, but I'm going to use the bonus attack. Needs 4s, 5s, and 6s to wound. The bonus attack yields 7 damage with 1 crit and 1 normal. Now for the next attack. Same as last time, needing 4s, 5s, and 6s. Come on, Mama needs a brand new faceless mask. And it's just 2 wounds, so that's only 4 damage, he's still alive. Using last action for another attack. And finally, with a single wound and 2 crits, he's taken out of action. Please all stop screaming at the screens. It is at this point that I remember the mission and that I realise my error. Instead of attacking twice, I should have disengaged, because now I have left my Shroud Queen within 4 inches of a battle edge at the end of round 4. I have no other option but to kill the Blazing Lord before the end of round 4. Curse my small brain! Before that can happen though, the Inferno Priest is going to move up and then use an ability Engulf in Flames using the quad 6. So because I used a 6 for the quad, it becomes half of that for the damage, so it's going to be 66 on 2 pluses, they become 3 damage, and I get to roll an additional dice for each 6 rolled. So in total, that one attack did 21 damage. Turning away from the ashy stain that was once the Shroud Blade, the Inferno Priest now looks at the only target in range, the Shroud Queen. Needing 5s to wound with her range attack, and she doesn't get any. Needing to put some hurt on the Blazing Lord, the Dark Flame Warlock is going to move forward, and again by mistake I used Cursed Darts when I shouldn't really. I am nothing if not consistent. 2d6 looking for 4 ups and criticals will halve the target's movement. Somehow get a cock down. And with double 6s that will be 4 damage and the target's movement will be halved. Gonna need to finish him with the crossbows. This is going to be 4 shots wounding on 5s. And at just 1 damage, that means that you will survive this attack with 1 wound left. Needing to tie up the Shadowstalkers ranged combat, the Brazen Champ will scramble over the wall and get into base-to-base combat with the Dark Flame Warlock. The Slaughterblade's just going to move forward to be able to get into range with the whip. 3 attacks wounding on 4 ups. 2 damage apiece, so that's 4 wounds on the Fireborn. Out of range of her firebombs, this Initiate is just going to move. Not much left for these Shroud Blades to do, so they're going to move into base-to-base with the Inferno Priest. Initiate with the Hooked Axe is just going to move into the Dark Flame Warlock. And the last Shroud Blade is just going to move into that combat as well. Fireborn here is going to attack into the Dark Flame Warlock, and we're going to use the double 3 for the Onslaught ability to get 1 more attack. Wounds 3 times with 1 critical for a total of 8 damage, and that takes him out of action in 1 strike. Making quite a name for herself, this Fireborn is carving her way through the Khainite Shadowstalkers. Last activation for the turn, and the Blazing Lord will just wait. There is nothing he needs to do. I know it's my first game, but I feel a little foolish. Now rereading the victory condition, I note that the Shroud Queen is within 4 inches at the end of turn 4, which means she turns and flees. Thanks very much for joining me for my first game of Warcry. Here's the scene at the end of the battle, and of course, due to the Shroud Queen fleeing, it is a victory for the Scions of the Flame. If you've made it this far, thank you so much for watching. If you've liked this content, please hit the like button. If you want to see more, please subscribe. It all helps me out, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye now.